guys, and welcome to the Leftovers channel. Welcome to another incredibly epic Mighty Max playset review, because today we've got something incredibly special. Now, when it comes to discussions, debates over which is the biggest Mighty Max playset, I just made that up. There is no discussion, there is no debate, there is only one, and that is Mighty Max trapped on Skull Mountain. This Mighty Max playset is an absolute beast. Actually, it's not a beast, it's actually a mountain. It is a mountain that Mighty Max has to scale to get to Skullmaster inside. You see, this is his secret lair. This is where all the evil stuff happens. And one thing that I do really love about a playset like this, a playset that's this big, this imposing, is that it works with so many other playsets out there in the Mighty Max toy line.
So you've hit on my hideout, Mighty Max. Well, now it's going to hit on you. Come, Max, meet my friends. That'll stop you playing with my missiles. Fancy a dip in the pool? Have a good look around, Max, cause it's the last thing you'll ever see.
Can Max angle his way out, or
See, Skullmaster is the bad guy. He commands a lot of the other bad guys. He's at the top of the food chain. He's at the very top. And we've got some incredible cartoon episodes where Mighty Max does try to take on Skullmaster at Skull Mountain. And in a lot of those episodes, there is a second sort of villain slash anti-hero style character vying for power, willing to take down Skullmaster for it, and his name is Larva Lord. And Larva Lord has Magus, his mechanical lava-powered robot that Mighty Max ends up taking over to assault Skullmaster at Skull Mountain. So we have this incredibly massive mountain playset that does work with so many other playsets and figures and characters available in the toy line, like Magus. So I wanted to check them both out for you today. I wanted to look at how to make the biggest, the best Mighty Max toy review ever. And I thought we'd start by focusing on Skull Mountain. As you can see, it's an incredibly foreboding looking mountain. It's craggy, it's rocky, and compared to the size of Mighty Max, which you can see him through the eye socket in here, the mountain itself it's incredibly big. Quite a feat for Mighty Max to climb up and into, but looking at the shape of the mountain, there are holes everywhere and gaps for you to peer into the playset and see what's inside, see those bad guys, see those traps awaiting Mighty Max. Right here on the front for the face, Skullmaster's face carved into the mountain. Not a great secret lair with your face carved into the front, but we've actually got this pull out sort of drawbridge tongue with big meaty like fangs sitting on it. So that's one potential entrance for Mighty Max to explore. We have got pathways and tracks leading up to the eye sockets all over the mountain. There's stairs and tracks carved into the mountain. But of course, lots of danger as well. On the back, we see another skull sort of carved into the back face here with a pull-out tongue. Another thing for Mighty Max to potentially climb and latch onto and climb into Skull Mountain that way. We've also got the twin-headed dragon. As you can see, it's one of the bigger figures in this playset, peeking out through the top of Skull Mountain there. We've also got one of our first traps. Located on this tower, there's actually a hole for Mighty Max to fall down and into the bottom of Skull Mountain here. So the detail is, there's a lot of detail. It's a really big mountain. I think one thing that's easy to notice, especially once we open it up, is the lack of painted detail. There's a lot of red, there's a fair bit of purple, but a lot of the colors are quite fluorescent in that sense as well, such as the green tongue, the orange dragon, the yellow teeth. We've got lots of red and lots of fluorescent colors, so it's a little bit over the top, but for Mighty Max, it's pretty much part of the course. It's to be expected with these Mighty Max figures that not all the details are painted and there's usually an overabundance of one color that forms the main shell. Sitting at the very top of our Mighty Max playset, we have got the skeleton elevator, which gives Mighty Max either a clever way to sneak down from the top, or for Skullmaster, an easy way to escape out the top. It's a very cool play feature, one of the ones that you can see from the outside of the playset. I've always in the past appreciated those Mighty Max playsets that have some of the play features that you can see and use and explore from the outside. It's just a nice little touch that you don't always have to open up the set to enjoy what's inside. And sitting at the very top here, we have got a nifty carry handle. So you can take Skullmaster and Skull Mountain wherever you go. Show them off to your friends, if you've got any, or I guess that's about it. I don't really know where else you would take something this incredibly cool. And looking at the room around me, I don't take my stuff anywhere. I just store it here. It's like a museum. So, actually getting into Skull Mountain requires a little bit of knowledge, because there is a secret rock hidden on the side in purple here. Pushing down on that rock will reveal the playset within, and it's a lot easier to do when it's actually sitting like on a flat surface or a bench or a table. But opening up the playset reveals the inside of Skull Mountain, and we get a few different levels here that we can explore. At the very bottom we have a lot of craggy rocks. It looks like it's the water sort of area. There is a giant like skeleton turtle. There is the shark vehicle, which has like an exploding hammerhead that pops off the top. Very cool vehicle figure, by the way, that Mighty Max can ride around on. We also have the one piece that's really missing from this playset, which is the giant crab. It is a crab that plugs into the side here and has its own sort of switch that lets it like jump out and grab Mighty Max. So I don't have the crab, but it is a sort of a watery area with like a little island that all attaches together that lets you, you know, expand out the base of this playset and give Mighty Max a few different opportunities to sneak in to Skull Mountain and fight his way up to the top, where I guess Skullmaster would normally be hanging out. So as we were looking from the outside in, we saw the double-headed dragon. That sits on like the middle level of this playset. We also get Skullmaster himself, as well as Warmonger, his second in command. So, a few little quick facts here about Skullmaster. On the comic panel for this playset, which is available on some of the boxes, you see that Skullmaster is actually hiding and concealing his true identity as this withered old man. The Skullmaster that we get here with this playset looks incredibly different to the Skullmaster that we see in the cartoon series. And that's fine, like Mighty Max has a different looking Skullmaster to battle, I suppose. But under that sort of withered man exterior, he is still the same mean old Skullmaster inside, and Mighty Max finally sort of reveals him towards the end of that cartoon panel on the box. We also have Warmonger here, rendered in beautiful orange. Warmonger is normally red, so they've not followed the cartoon. I'm not exactly sure which came first, the Skull Mountain or the cartoon series featuring all these characters. But we've got Warmonger, which is like Skullmaster's second in command. So, when Skullmaster was first banished into the center of the Earth was run by Larva Lord. He is the king of all the lava monsters, and all the rock monsters, and all these sort of monsters, I guess, that live in the center of the Earth. Skullmaster trapped Lava Lord in this big brick of rock and took over the running of the center of the earth, took over the management position that was left available. Warmonger's job was to basically keep the lava monsters and the rock monsters in line so that they could build this evil empire for Skullmaster to rule. So what we have here is Skullmaster, his second in command. We also get a rock monster here in this playset as well. The rock monster blends in really well to the base, to the rocky crags and the crevices and the little nooks and crannies. He blends in really well and he hides really well in there. So one thing I did really want to point out is the detail sculpted into the walls of the mountain here. I think it's really easy to overlook because you open it up and there's a lot of different things happening and it's quite hard to see all those details or capture them on camera when you're looking at the online pictures, especially the eBay listings. But there is an incredible amount of sculpted details painted here sculpted here onto the back, into the mold of Skull Mountain, which is a real shame that not more of them were painted. We don't actually get many any stickers either within Skull Mountain, but the lack of painted detail I think really shows when you get to explore how much detail is hidden away here in the back of these playsets. So the middle floor here on Skull Mountain is basically dedicated to the laboratories. There's a bit of machinery, there's some weapons and traps set up. There's a few cool little details in there, sure, but it's quite empty, quite hollow when you look at the inside of this mountain like this. But we do have some cool details. We have this axe which swings down when you move the brow of the Skull Mountain from the outside. It's supposed to launch a projectile that slides down the front of the mountain. We also have a flick missile based in here that shoots lava through the other eye socket. Both really cool little additions here in Skull Mountain. In the way of traps though, we don't really have all that much. We do have a way at the very top of the playset here for either for Skullmaster or Mighty Max to escape using a mini hoverpod launcher. My spring's a little bit broken, but yeah, it's supposed to be able to launch off the top and take either Skullmaster to safety or Mighty Max out of Skull Mountain so he can continue his adventures there. One thing that I did really like is the double-headed dragon basically has its own nest sitting up there that it's perched inside of. Again, there's lots of purple, there's lots of red, there's not much in the way of painted details, and no stickers at all to see. So in terms of detail, I think what they've sculpted here is beautiful and really nice. What they've actually been able to deliver for production isn't quite as intricate or beautiful as it could be, which is a real shame. But like I said, one of the really cool things for me about Skull Mountain is the fact that it appears in a lot of the Mighty Max cartoons, especially alongside some other incredible figures and characters and villains and enemies and in different adventures. I mentioned Lava Lord and the lava monsters. Now Lava Lord of course had his own robot.
Look now and learn.
Magus that Mighty Max took over. One other playset that would work really well here with Skull Mountain is the Lava Beast playset. So there actually were a couple of different Lava Beast playsets. This is one of the Battle Masters ones. I've reviewed it here on the channel. It's one of my absolute favorites just because it looks like it's melting really hardcore. I love how they've textured and designed the lava here for the lava monster, and it comes with your very own sort of extra Lava Lord figure. Works really well again with the Magus robot, but of course in the context of Skull Mountain and how big and impressive and imposing it is, it really does help when you can add these extra figures and these extra characters to help tie in all those details and make it look like a more complete set. So I kind of wanted to kick off the end of this review looking at Magus, the robot, because it's another really incredible figure. This one has a lot of detail. There's a lot of things happening here, but I've also hesitated to review it in the past simply because I'm missing the launcher, which sits inside its chest cavity and makes the two sort of larva eyes poke through the front. It's a really cool detail. It's a real shame that I'm missing it here for this playset, but you'll see as I open it up and we look inside it where it was going to sit, what it was going to do. I'm also missing like this vehicle platform for the Lava Lord himself to ride on from inside the chest cavity. So not a complete playset. Just like Skull Mountain, I'm missing a few things. I try not to review a playset unless it's complete, but for these two incredible playsets, I kind of wanted to make that exception because I was really excited to hop on camera and talk about how cool they are. Sorry, Magus. Magus is a robot that was built by Lava Lord to take on Skull Mountain. Mighty Max manages to free Lava Lord, he frees the lava monsters, and the Lava Lord takes over. He takes back part of his kingdom and he starts getting the lava monsters to produce a Lava Lord, a Magus, a robot for him to take on Skullmaster with. So,
enjoy your next breath, Capbella. It will be your last.
Norman, into Magus, quick! Oh man, one of these things must do something. Norman, I need you to work the missile system.
I hate technology. But I love a good explosion.
Woo! Yeah! Somehow I knew you'd find a way, buddy. Now, if I can just get this big lug into first gear, we might still have a chance.
No, Magus is mine!
we have Magus. You can see that he's got some incredible details on him already. We've got this really cool sort of rock texturing with drips and drabs of molten lava seeping through the rocks, especially on the back of the playset. I really love how they've got the vents, they've got this machinery that's been like built into the rock, and then we've got these incredible pops of lava and color showing through. So let's start by, again, looking at the bottom of this playset. Each of these legs are made with that rock texture and they look really cool and shiny, but as we open up the thigh cavities, we actually reveal two sort of secret compartments right here within Magus himself. One of them, I've got a lava beast on a motorbike, which is a really cool little figurine. We've got this like really chill looking lava beast just cruising around on the motorbike. And when it sits inside the leg cavities, it actually makes like a track or something visible from the outside, which is a really cool sort of component of the Magus robot, when you can see this machinery and how they've incorporated it with the characters that you get inside. Talking about sort of hidden compartments, both Magus's arms open up, revealing weapons and an extra monster slash vehicle figure. Again, there's some really cool sculpted details inside these cavities, looking at the walls inside the Magus arms. You see that machinery and you see that detail sort of just like right there. And of course, we get the big missile launch. It can pop right out of Magus's arm and be used as a standalone missile launcher, or it could be used again as part of the overall design of the machine, the robot itself. But it just fits in really nicely there, forming part of its arm. I really love the attention to detail and the opportunity to pull Magus apart and explore every piece of him, both as an action figure, but as we're about to explore, as a play set as well. So to actually open up a Magus and to start exploring him as a playset, we'll lift up the head, which reveals some really cool details sculpted into the head of Magus here. Another place for Mighty Max to stand. Some really cool Larva patterns and again pops of color, which I really do appreciate in this playset. To start opening up the Magus playset, we will fold down the front compartment, which reveals Mighty Max as well as our Larva Lord figure. Now Larva Lord here looks exactly like you'd expect. He looks like a really miniature version of Magus, really. He's got the same sort of rock texture for his chest and his head, but then he's also made up mostly entirely of this drippy sort of lava texture, which I really do think they've nailed for this playset. So we've got the chest cavity, we've got a good look inside of Magus here. As you can see, he's got these robotic components. He is a massive robot that Mighty Max in the cartoon ends up stealing from the Larva Lord and driving himself to Skull Mountain to take on Skullmaster. That causes a lot of bad blood between Larva Lord and Mighty Max. Larva Lord himself is a bit of a complicated character because he's not sort of like out there being bad. He's a bit of an anti-hero in the sense that he also wants to take down Skullmaster. He wants to reclaim his kingdom here in the center of Earth. It's just him and Mighty Max have different ways sort of to go about it, and they bump heads and they compete with each other. But at the end of the day, they both kind of want the same thing. So we've got a Larva Lord figure, we've got Mighty Max as a place to stand and a place for him to stand inside the chest cavity. As I mentioned, I'm missing like a vehicle sort of hover platform for Larva Lord to sit on. That's where he would normally plug into. I'm missing that piece from the center of from the center of Magus here, which is a bit of a shame. But on the back, we can also see as we lifted up the head, we have taken the hook away, which allows us to open up the back cavity as well, revealing more machinery, more components here that keep Magus running. We've also got a place here for Virgil to sit. He plugs into the side of the playset in here. We can see the vent, we can see it nearly looks like a little prison cell, a way to trap people within Magus. It's either that or it could be a cockpit or a few other things. I'd like to think that Larva Lord would probably not take too many prisoners as he approaches Skull Mountain. He's just out there for destruction. But if we do look at the ground around the cell here in the back, we've got these like skulls, lots and lots of skulls. So I can only assume that a couple of humans have died here in the back of Magus. We also get a pop-out lava monster figure. Works again really well with like the lava beast figures. It works really well here on Skull Mountain, where the lava monsters were basically building and running that kingdom. That was their job. They were being commanded by a Warmonger to work for Skullmaster to help him sort of rule over his bad guy empire. So we get another really cool lava monster figure. He works really well on the back of the texture. I do love the drippy lava. I love the pops of color that we get with this playset. I love how contained it is. There's so much happening here for basically an action figure that you can open up and peek inside of. It's a shame that I'm missing those pieces, but at the same time I still really can appreciate the Magus figure and the sort of the complicated relationship between Mighty Max, Larva Lord and Skullmaster that they do start to explore a little bit more in the cartoon series. But it's so cool seeing these playsets and these characters come to life in those cartoons. So yeah, the biggest Mighty Max playset ever. Mighty Max trapped on Skull Mountain, as well as one of my absolute favorite deluxe playsets, Mighty Max Blasts Magus. Both of them are really thankful that they're here in the collection, and I love all the different ways you can make these playsets work together and all the ways that you can incorporate other playsets and other characters into how you use these, play these, display with different playsets you can use next to display with these two playsets. I think there's a lot of opportunity, and it was a really fun one to explore today. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me go on and on about some of my favorite Mighty Max playsets. If you're here on the channel, you may have noticed there's a couple other Mighty Max playsets to check out. I have reviewed a bunch of these things, and I really do enjoy getting to dive into the little details that you don't always see on those pictures that you see online. I really try and bring those little details to the front of the reviews that I do here and talk about how they work as a playset, how they work in the context around the entire playset, where else they might have shown up in the cartoon series, what else we know about these sets in general. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy what you saw. Feel free to leave a comment. Really appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But absolutely stay tuned for some more Leftover Culture review. You can check out a bunch of photos from both these playsets over on the Leftover Culture review website. I will leave a link down there in the description. Cheers guys.